livelihood tips.
Hi mga ka-biz friend! Alam mo bang pwede kang kumita mula sa kalikasan? From natural resources, we can turn it to profitable business. Abangan nyo lang yan sa susunod na episode ng Business Beat, only here on INCRadio Calabarzon Satellite Studio. Galing kalikasan, gawin natin yung kabuhayan. July 13, 2025, Sunday at 7 p.m. Philippine Standard Time. Save the date na!
Αγαπώ το INCRadio διότι με κάνει να ξεχνώ τα προβλήματά μου και με κάνει χαρούμενη.
INCRadio Uydu Stüdyosu'nu seviyorum çünkü izlerken ve dinlerken bize bilgi ve ilham verici bir değer sağlıyor.
E amo INCRadio perché mi permette di conoscere tanti fratelli in tutto il mondo.
Ik hou van INCRadio omdat ik dan inspirerende lessen hoor.
Hi there. I love INCRadio because it helps me communicate and reach out, be able to talk to people who I might not have been able to previously. It lets me have that connection with people, it lets me be able to conversate with people, it lets me report on different things. And most especially, it's actually quite fun.
Ito ang INC Radio, DZEM 954, ang tinig ng katotohanan, himpilan ng Iglesia ni Cristo, sumasahimpapawid mula sa Quezon City.
Let's open our devices and listen now. Let's have some fun and this is how. As we have our INC radio podcast playing, we will have so much fun listening. INC Radio Podcast, we're here to hear.
All right. Good morning. Good afternoon, good evening po sa lahat ng mga nakikinig po sa atin ngayon. Welcome to another episode of INC Radio Podcast, the podcast that resonates with you. This is our 10th episode of this season, The Balanced Blueprint. And you're tuning in, of course, here on INC Radio Podcast. Kasama niyo po Kuya Jake and Australian. We're still waiting sa iba pa po nating mga kasama to log in and have this beautiful conversation with us. And actually one of our podcast host is here, and to introduce, hello, papasukin natin Ate Angelica, what's up?
Hi, Kuya Jacon.
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing good. How about you?
Parang it's just like we just went to a call.
It's been a long time since we hosted together.
I know. It's been a long time, but hindi naman mawawala yung the connection. The connection. And then, Angelica, this episode, as we continue our season, The Balanced Blueprint, because in our season, we focus on topics that involve balancing our personal, our social, and as well as our academic life. Because that is the practice that is essential to help us develop, especially at a very young age. I believe last week we talked about the balance between social connection and alone time. Is that correct?
Yes, so last episode, we dove into the balance between social connection and alone time. And during the last episode, we explored the different ways to maintain our relationships while taking care of ourselves as well. So today, for our conversation, Kuya Jake, and we're going to be talking about the strength of having a routine.
But of course, you want our podcast family to join on the conversation that we'll have today. So let's segue to our podcast question for today, as always. And for all of our live viewers, please feel free to leave your answer in the live chat down below. And for those who will be viewing our lovely episode after this has been aired, please feel free to share with us your response to our question at podcast@incradio.net. And of course, ito na ang ating podcast episode question. what is one routine that you have developed and what do you do to maintain it? So, can you give us a routine that you usually, you know, dive yourself in? Ginagawa mo sa umaga or sa hapon, sa gabi? How do you do, what do you do to maintain it, to make it a routine? Kasi di ba pag routine, laging, laging yan nangyayari. How about you, at the end what are your thoughts about this question?
We have a lot of different routines. So for this podcast episode question, um, for anyone, I think we can talk about all the different routines that we have, right? We have different aspects of our lives that we tend to prepare for, whether it's a morning routine, maybe it's a nighttime routine to prepare for the next day, or maybe for students, we have a certain routine when it comes to exam prep. So this question can really encompass any type of routine that we have. Now, before we
Mhm.
head off to our main discussion, we'd like to give our special thanks to Ka Angelo Ranyo V. Manalo, our Deputy Executive Minister, and most of all, we would like to thank our dearest Executive Minister, Ka Eduardo V. Manalo. We love you, po.
We love you so much po. Now, pasok tayo. Let's go ahead with that conversation. What does having a routine mean to you? What does it represent, Ate Angelica?
I think for me, having a routine, it means that for me, I see it as a way of preparing for something.
Mhm.
Um, and the way I see it is routines are very important because it's your way of being organized. Um, so it's something that I think is essential for us to be able to really complete the tasks that we have within the day, and kind of make sure we have some sort of order to our
Mhm.
day. How about you, Kuya Jacob?
Mine is like para kasi siyang anchor for me, Ate Angelica. It's like okay, I need to do this in order for me to do other things as well. Parang it's a starter pack. That's how I see it. My routines usually would really start in the morning. Parang usually ganun talaga yung routines ko. Morning. I don't have afternoon routine or even um routines at night. I'm sure if you would consider paghihilamos as a routine.
I think if you have
Toothbrush
like some sort
routine
of
at night.
I think if you have some sort of order of things that you do
Mm.
for the night,
Mhm.
let's say the way I see it is that we have our nighttime routine is important so that the next day we have a good start to our day.
I
So
see.
for me, that's why I see it really as preparation for the other aspects of our day, whether it's within that day or maybe the following day.
Mhm. What's a routine that really helped you at the Angelic in your day-to-day life?
I think now, honestly, it's been a very rough transition,
Mhm.
transitioning into working full time for the summer, just because the majority of my day is spent just commuting, because I work in the city. And so
Oh,
a
hindi
really
na
important
nagda-drive ba? Hindi na ba?
no, because of congestion
Oh, I
toll
see.
in New York City. So it's very
Mm.
expensive to drive into the city. So it's more it's cheaper, and also parking is very difficult if you're going
Yeah.
to a
Yeah.
congested
Even
area.
here.
Yes,
Mhm.
so it's better to just commute. And when you're commuting a lot, if you're working if your work starts at 9 in the morning but you're commuting, it really starts hours before that, because you
Mm.
have to prepare yourself to get ready for the day, and then on top of that, make sure that you have what you need for the rest of the day. So for me, my routine before I go to sleep is really important because I pack my lunch. My routine in the morning is also really important because I have to make sure I have all the things that I need for work that day. And my matcha for the day is very important. I need caffeine. That's very, very
Matcha. You get
important.
caffeine from matcha.
Yes. And so if I forget that, I'll be very groggy for the rest of the day, or I'll be very exhausted, and
Are you real?
it's
Uh-huh.
not good. So I need my caffeine for the day. So that part of my routine is very, very important for my day-to-day life. How about you, Kuya Jacob?
Oh. Like what I said earlier, my routines would usually just, start in the morning. Kasi hindi naman ako strict sa gabi, yung mga routines ko. It's just usually, getting ready for bed. It's just that, brushing my teeth, washing my face after a long day, and then I'll sleep. sa morning may hindi talaga mawawala yung prayer. I think that's an important thing to do. Number one talaga. The moment you
Yeah.
wake up, the moment I you know wake up, I instantly start praying. Sit down and pray.
Mhm.
Tapos I don't know. I don't usually fix my bed. I just thought to be
I think
guys.
that's something that not everyone does. Personally, for me,
Yeah.
I think there are certain households where you grow up and it's like like growing up, it's very important for you to make your bed.
Hmm.
But in my household, not really. Keeping a clean
Not
room,
really.
yes, but
Yes.
with your bed, not necessarily. So for me, it's never actually been a part of my.
Mhm. Siguro ano, if you would consider, itutupi ko yung kumot ko, but I won't usually, fix my bed sheets and like straight it
Mhm.
up, cause like um I'm gonna wash it after the week anyway. I'll just use it at night, and I live in the dorm, so 'di ba? I just make sure that they're clean. Yun lang, yun lang. I
Yeah.
don't usually like tidy them up. Parang ganun.
Mhm.
And then that's it. And then I start, kasi sa Pilipinas ang hirap kapag hindi ka maliligo kahit umuulan tapos hindi ka maliligo, talagang there's something wrong. Kaya
Mhm.
kaya dapat naliligo talaga, hindi talaga mawawala. And then I just usually just go to the office kasi every morning at 8 we have masayang tahanan. So that's how my morning usually go. And then hapon I'll go to school, organization activities, and then at night I usually end my day, right now I usually end my day with my org friends na apparently kadorm ko yung iba sa kanila. So sabay kami umuwi. That's just how my day goes. And other people might say it's boring, but it really works for me, and I feel like it's been one of the calmest days of my life here in the Philippines, and I'm in love with it.
Do you feel like having that type of routine helps you to have some sort of control or that it makes you feel better?
Yeah, yeah, it does. Kasi parang I get to control my schedule in the afternoon, mostly about schedules, Ate Angelica. Kasi usually after our morning programs, I would just stay here at the studio and do things na uh I don't know, do things in advance, yung mga program rundowns ng Masayang Taanan. Kasi I'm also a producer and a director of Student Talk Radio and INC Radio Cafe. So I'd mostly do things in advance. Pero when I started incorporating going to school at the afternoon, meeting with friends, in preparations of other things, parang sabi ko, I get to have a variety of things to do all day. Hindi
Mhm.
na siya nagiging um hindi na siya nagiging parang paulit-ulit na I feel like the days are just passing by so quickly and I don't feel like I'm doing anything at all just because I am stuck in a single place. Parang, of course, I love being here, pero iba pa rin naman, to explore other stuff. Because,
Mhm.
how about you?
I think for me, I feel better when I have a routine. Like I
Uh-huh.
need it because the way I see it is that when you're working, I don't see it so to be something so important when you're a student. I think the reason why is because as a student, your schedule is just all over the place. Like your classes are not always during the morning. Sometimes your classes are spread out throughout the day. So your day is
Mm.
constantly changing. As opposed to when you're now working, your like shift times is set. And so you build your routine around that time. You kind of have the same procedure, even though your days are different and what goes on during your day is different. Essentially, how you're allotting your time is the same. So for me, I
Mm-hmm.
think having a routine just makes me feel more in control and more like, to me, completing my routine in itself feels like an accomplishment. So I think it's
Yeah.
something that's better.
Other people would really say that routines are boring because routine nga. Parang in definition, talagang paulit-ulit talaga siya. Pero I what do you think about that, Ate Angelica? What would you say to them?
I think there's something that's been, I know, going on social media, whether you're a type A or a type B
What does that
person.
mean? What's a
So,
type A type B?
so type A person is someone who's very organized. Like if you're
Okay.
going on a trip with a type A person, they might have everything planned down to like the hour or even maybe the
Mm-hmm.
minute of what you guys are going to be doing. But a type B person is kind of more of like a go with the flow type of person.
Yeah.
And I think that type of person, like that type of mentality applies to how you would view having a routine. Whereas I think type B people, if they're the type to go with the flow, they might find a
Mhm.
routine to be boring. But for someone who likes to be very organized and have things planned out, a routine for them is something that's a necessity. It's something that they find a lot of value in. And so it really depends on the type of personality that you have, in my opinion.
Yeah. To be honest, yeah. Ang and my thoughts about that is really find where you fit. Kasi I would say na dumaan din ako sa phase of my life where I don't really have a routine. Dumaan din ako na parang like I just do whatever, I just do whatever I feel, what I think is right. I just go with the flow. But then I felt like parang yun nga, going back, I don't have control. I don't have control of what I do. Feeling ko, my my hours in the day would be dictated of just kung sino yung mga tao sa paligid ko or whatever I feel, ganyan. And then I don't feel satisfied. I don't feel like I've done great things at the end of the day. So for me, routines are really important kasi it makes me feel like I have actually something going on. Parang kahit ganun na lang, kahit feeling na lang. So I really agree with you na it is really a preference to have a routine or not. If it works for them, if that's their lifestyle, then good for them. If it's not, then kung kagaya natin sila, edi it's great din naman, di ba? Kaya feeling mo ba ano, nakakatulong siya kapag you feel stress or when you feel uncertain? How does that play in your hand?
I think it does help. Routines help when you are able to get through them and complete them. Because I think that if you're in a position where you're stressed out, or you're overwhelmed, to know that you completed your routine can make you feel like you accomplished something. So, in a sense, it kind of makes things feel lighter if you're able to get through your routine. But if you are the type of person to want to stick very closely to your routine, and you're in a position where you feel overwhelmed and stressed out and you're unable to stick closely to your routine, then I think that in
Mm,
some ways it can make you feel more stressed out. So I think it really depends on your perspective.
yeah. I think it relates with sa akin siguro nase-stress ako kapag I feel like it's not working. Kasi
Mm-hmm.
syempre, parang we try to find the perfect routine naman talaga, 'di ba? Hindi naman siya, okay, I do this, is my routine forever. No. You find what works and what's not. And I feel like stressful siya thinking about it. Going back to when I was, figuring out what routine should I do in the morning, what routine should I do in the night. It is really stressful kasi feeling ko, ano ba yan? Parang wala namang gumagana sa life ko. Parang nagkakagulo yung life ko, wala namang maayos na pagbabago. Ganun lagi yung feeling.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, hindi naman siguro talaga mawawala na you will have to go through that, finding the perfect fit for us. What do you think?
I think so. I think it's really important to not be so influenced by other people's routines. Because sometimes you go online and you see people waking up at 4 in the morning, they're going on a morning
Mm,
jog, they're having a whole entire day before their day starts. And if that's not something that works for you, then
yeah.
don't do it. There's other ways to build a routine that works for you, and it really depends on your schedule and I guess the things that you are involved in and how much energy you have after completing those things. For example, if you are working, um, long hours, then it's not really reasonable to be able to expect you to accomplish so many other things throughout your day, because already working might drain your energy. And so your routine really has to be built on your schedule. So that being said, Kuya Jacob, for you, how can you tell when your routine is not working?
Kapag ano, when I feel na but is it right to say na there are days when I don't feel motivated? I go with these routines. Parang
No,
yung
that's
routine
normal.
kasi, ang routine kasi na pinipili ko for myself, especially in the morning, is yung mga bagay na would make me feel that I'm ready. Would push me to go through the day. Kasi it's hard to wake up every morning and feel like okay, you have to put on a face that's full of energy kasi a lot of people will be seeing us and they're expecting that I should have full energy and I should be a source of motivation for them as well. So parang if yung mga ginagawa ko sa morning, they don't make me feel that. Yung parang feeling ko tamad na tamad akong umalis ng bahay after I've done everything that I've then that's the time when I feel like I think this routine is not working for me. Or I lalo lang akong inaantok, 'di ba? Kasi I've tried waking up every 4 in the morning and jog.
That is
And then
so early.
it's 'di ba, 'di ba?
Pero
That's
it's a difference in it's a difference in culture as well, because
yeah.
I've experienced living in the Philippines, and of course I've lived the majority of my life here in the States. And what I noticed is that people in the Philippines, they wake up very early, but here
Mhm.
mm, there most people are not really morning people because people like to stay up late. So there's
Yeah.
that, there's that difference too.
Mhm. Ikaw, te, what do you think? How would you say if the routine is working or not?
I think it's more like when your routine, when fulfilling it starts to feel like a chore, and it's
Oh.
like it's to the extent where you have to force yourself to go about your routine. I think that's when it's not working. Because to me, your routine is built around, should be built around what you need, right? I mentioned earlier, for me, I see a routine as kind of like preparing. And so your routine is really for you. But when you have to force it, then it's not something that's coming naturally to you. And so that's how I feel like that's when you know it's not working. But I do think at the same time that sometimes there's certain parts of our routine that we need to do, right? Sometimes there's changes that we undergo in our lives where we have to set our routine a certain way, where we don't necessarily have that choice. For example, if you have to take a specific class and it ends up being really early in the morning, but you really need to take that class, you might not be a morning person, but you need to build a routine for yourself, because at that point it's a necessity to build that morning routine so that way you could get through what you need to do. And so what that results in is that you might need to take small steps to change up your maybe your what you're used to, so that way you could
Mhm.
um, adapt to that new routine that you need. And so, Kuya Jacob, what are some small habits that you think can lead to bigger changes over time, especially when it comes to um, developing a new routine for yourself?
Going back to waking up, I think aside from it being cultural, ang laking tulong talaga if a person is a morning person. Well, at least for me, because that's the change. That's the beginning of the change that I felt. Coming over here in the Philippines, tapos tayo di ba dun sa when I was still in Malaysia, I would usually wake up at 10, at 11, and ang hulog talaga niyan is like I feel like
Tanghali na
I'm
ang
ending what?
tanghali na ang gising.
Tanghali ang gising, literal na tanghali ang gising. And, hulog yan sa parang, oops, gabi na agad. Parang
Mm.
ganun. And as opposed to like waking up at around 5, sure, medyo antok-antok pa, pero then ang dami ko nang nagagawa for myself, alone. Kasi usually, yung mga 11, 12, until evening, I don't get to do things for myself, it's usually preparing for programs or other duties or school, especially kapag may classes would start at 1 p.m. and then hanggang gabi, parang nauubos siya sa mga bagay na hindi specifically for my for my personal well-being. So yung gising ko ng 5 a.m. dun ko na ibubuhos yung time for myself. Time for me to check in whether I need, I need to I need a new haircut. No, I need a new I need new facial creams or kaya kailangan ko ba mag-breathing exercises. Yung mga ganong bagay. I think that's the perfect time.
Mm-hmm.
And waking up really did help me on that. Naging habit siya, and then it eventually turned into a routine, and I love it. How about you?
I think the small habit that led to bigger changes was that if you're having a hard time um building, or let's just say waking up early, right? You're undergoing changes in your routine. It's important to start with your nighttime routine. And so for me, if there's instances when I need to wake up early, I used to be a morning person until I just I'm just tired all the time. So then
Yeah.
waking up early has been very difficult. And so it really starts with your preparation. And so those
Mhm.
small habits of setting yourself up for what your future self needs is what's going to help you to eventually adapt to your new routine. Now, I think it's time already, Kuya Jacon,
Oh, yeah.
for
Oo nga pala, nasa 11:30.
way.
Ito, bakit hindi tayo isang oras?
Okay, so for our Christian value takeaway, as Christians, having a routine isn't just about productivity. It's about living with intention and discipline that honors God. A strong routine helps us prioritize not only our academic and personal responsibilities, but also time with God. It's a way of making space daily to grow in faith, stay grounded, and develop our relationship with God.
And of course, when life feels chaotic or unpredictable, our routines can anchor us. But even more importantly, we're anchored by God's presence. Routines focused on His purpose for us, di ba po? By letting Him guide our days and being consistent in obeying His commandments, we're better equipped to serve Him faithfully in our lives.
As we wrap up today's episode, we'd like to give our special thanks to you, our lovely viewers. Thank you for joining us in this episode today, and we hope to see you in our next episode so that we can all keep growing in faith, one INC Radio podcast episode at a time.
And as always, we would love to hear from you and all of you. So please reach us out for any comments, any questions, or suggestions via email at INC Radio Podcast or podcast at incradio.net. Because here at INC Radio Podcast, we're
We're
here.
here to hear.
Bye, everyone. See you next week. Betty Angelica, good night.
Listen now. Let's have some fun, and this is how. As we have our INC radio podcast playing, we will have so much fun listening. INC radio podcast, we're here to hear. Let's open our devices and listen now. Let's have some fun, and this is how. As we have our INC radio podcast playing, we will have so much fun listening. INC radio podcast, we're here to hear.
Overseas Filipino worker ka ba?
Or may plano ka maging isang OFW?
Baguhan o matagal ng OFW?
Pamilya ng OFW? Para sa iyo ang programang ito. Ito ang
People Inspire People!